Guys, welcome back. We have Tom again here on the channel. Tom's been here before, so it's exciting to have him again. And Tom's agreed to talk to us about a deal he's working on right now. It's in one of his remote markets. It's a creative financing deal. You guys know I talk about this a little bit here on the channel. So Tom's gonna actually break down this deal he's working on. And we're gonna take a deal that ended up not being a normal, cash offer, wholesale to contract type of deal, and how Tom's gonna try to turn this deal around and still save this deal, still make money on this deal using creative financing, coming up.
This video is brought to you by Flipster, the nation's #1 real estate software, with tools for finding, funding, and flipping houses. Check it out now at getflipster.com.
If you're new here, I'm Jerry Norton with flippingmastery.com, and this channel is all about ways to make money wholesaling and flipping real estate so you can live your dream life. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss new videos. Okay, Tom, it's awesome to have you again here in the home office. Thanks for coming into town. And this is a really cool deal you're working on. Tom's gonna share this with you, and we're gonna actually cut to a live call with you and the seller and kind of share how this goes down. So first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the original intent when you went into this deal, and then how that didn't work out, and now kind of like your plan B of, well, how can I use creative financing? You got a couple different ways to do that. How can I use creative financing to save this deal and still make money? Which is what's so cool about creative financing, is if you know how to do it, you can take dead deals and still profit on them, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see where it's in play.
Yeah.
So maybe give us a real quick overview of this lead, maybe where it came from, and kind of your initial conversation.
Yeah, so this is a new market of mine, new virtual market. I've not been there. In fact, I've never been to that market at all. And
Never even visited?
Never even visited. So we started working this market, and you don't really know what the buyers are gonna pay. So my acquisitions guy got the property under contract. Now, let me tell you about the property. The property is a condominium. The ARV, so fixed up 2-bedroom condos with a garage, are selling for around 120, 125. He locked it up for 87. Now, not a screaming deal, but
a little tight.
Yeah, a little tight, but there's some good potential with this. With a condo, there's nothing to do with the exterior, right? So the only fix up on this condo is carpet paint. Maybe you replace the kitchen cabinets, which there's not that many of. And
how many square feet?
900.
900.
Yep, 900 square feet, but it's only interior square feet, right? You're not dealing with the exterior portion.
There's no roof, no painting outside, no landscaping.
Yep. Yeah, so really, I mean, the rehab on this is really minor if you're gonna do it. So we have it locked up under contract for 87.
Cash.
Cash. Mm-hmm. So we blasted out to this buyer's list that I've bootstrapped and got 225 cash buyers on this buyer's list, and crickets, right? I've done 2 email blasts, put it out on Facebook group, no response at all, like very, very.
Now, normally this would be like, okay, I don't have a deal, no interest, back out of your contract, let it go.
Yeah, but you put all this effort into getting a contract, man, you really want to see it go through. So I was sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, what can I possibly do to save this deal? Not a lot of risk, right? We're at 87. And ARV's 125. So I was thinking about creative finance, right? So the seller situation is, it was the mom's house. The daughter needs to get rid of it, and they just want to be done. The mortgage on it is $85,000. That we're just giving them just a little bit above mortgage.
And this is important because if your contract's 87, their payoff on their loan is 85. Mm-hmm. If you pay closing fees, the most they're gonna walk out of the deal with a cash closing is $3,000.
Yeah.
So it's not like they got all this equity and they want all that money. Mm-hmm. If it were an equity play, it'd be a totally different scenario, because it's hard for a seller to wanna creative finance and wait. Creative financing means I'll pay you more or whatever, but you don't get it till later because they stay in the deal, right? That's creative financing. But in this case, since they're not really walking away with anything, especially if you can do creative and still give them $3,000, then it's the same they would get with cash. Oh, the only difference is it's huge for you because now you're not having to come out with money, or your buyer that you can't find isn't interested. So now it opens up all these doors, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's the problem I think we're seeing with our cash buyers is if they're going to go get financing with hard money lender or whatever, by the time they go from 95 to 125, putting $7,500 worth of work in, done. Yeah, there's no...
It's the cost of capital is expensive. No matter who you are, even if it's your own cash, it is expensive, which is why cash has to get a good deal.
Yeah.
But creative now your cost of capital is nothing. Because if you pick up their loan at 87 and they've got a halfway decent interest rate, what's your payment? A couple $100, like nothing.
Yeah.
If that, like $250, $300, PITI, nothing. So all of a sudden now you create for your buyer, because if you take that deal to a buyer now with the creative financing in place, you just carved out now a huge savings and ease of, whenever you can present to a cash buyer, ease of entry into a deal, that also solves a huge problem.
Now, we've talked about two exit strategies. One is fix and flip. The other is considering a BRRRR method, which is take it down, do the work to fix it up, put a renter in place, and then refinance.
So here's what Tom's saying, guys. I hope you're catching this. Fix and flip is I'm going to buy it, fix it, flip it to a retail buyer. Great strategy. Not a lot of margin. He could wholesale it to a buy and hold who would buy it, renovate it, rent it, refinance, because now when they refinance, they can use the rental income, it'll qualify. Now that end buyer, your cash buyer, is going to keep it for a long-term hold, cash flow. So, and what's great about this idea is whenever you're at like the 100,000 price point, you can go either way, right? Or 125, anything under 100 or a little over 100. A rental tends to be a great strategy. So you'll find a lot of your cash buyers could be flippers, and they also could be buy and holders.
Yeah. So in trying to figure this out, we just did a call with the seller, and we'll cut and play.
Let's cut to the call right now, guys. Listen to this. I want you to pay attention to how Tom explains this to them, because what's tricky about this is whenever you're doing creative financing, we may understand it and you may understand it, but trying to explain that to a regular everyday person, homeowner, can be a little challenging. So Tom stayed away from using things like creative financing or subject to. And he did, I thought did a really great job of kind of trying his best to help them understand, hey, here's how this would work. So let's cut to that call and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Hello?
Hi, is this Sandy?
This is?
Hey, Sandy, it's Tom Robinson. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm my husband John here as well.
Oh, awesome. Hey, good to meet you both. So, yeah, thanks so much for taking my call. I know you guys have talked with Cody. He works for me, and how's he been? Has he been pretty good working with?
Yeah, he actually has been, but we've got some questions for you.
Okay.
So, where are we at right now?
Yeah, great question. So here's the concern that I'm up against, and this is what I wanted to ask, if it's even a possibility. So right now, when we do a deal, we are sourcing our financing, and there's financing costs that go along with that. One of the ways that to cut that down is sometimes sellers consider doing seller financing, where we take over the property and take over the payments, still close at the same purchase price, but leave the mortgage in place, and then we start making those payments rather than sourcing our own financing. And so I was calling to see, is that even a possibility that you guys would consider?
Yeah, we would have to discuss that.
Okay. Yeah, that would open up some doors for us. Essentially what happens is we source our money, it costs us money, But if we can utilize existing financing that's there, we can essentially pass that savings on to the seller, and you guys benefit, we benefit, and it just makes the deal work even better, if that's even a possibility.
What would the cost be?
Cost to do that?
Yeah, or just the benefit it would be for us.
Sure, absolutely. So as I'm running our numbers, the numbers are just looking, tight. And so if they get too tight, then it just doesn't make sense on our end. And so we may not be able to actually do the deal. But if we don't have to go source financing and we can utilize and just make the payments that are there, the mortgage payments that are there right now, then that makes the numbers work a lot more in our favor, and more likely that we'll be able to actually make it work. Now, a couple things on this end here. So with the HOA says that we can't rent the property for at least 2 years without it being owner occupied. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in that case, then we definitely, there's two options for us to look at an investment on this property. One is we take over the payments and do our thing and quickly sell it. And so it would not be out there for a long period of time. That mortgage wouldn't be out there for a long time. The other option is, and I don't know if this is something that would be considered, but doing a contract for deed, meaning you guys have already owned it for more than 2 years, correct?
Yeah, I've owned it since 2006.
Okay, and it was a primary residence for at least 2 of those years?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other option could be, do we do a contract for deed where the ownership stays in your name, we make payments to you, but we have a contract that says after a certain amount of time, we then will actually close on the property at some future date. But the purchase price is $87,000 today, and we'll pay that, over time in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So essentially what that would enable us to do is we could then rent the property out, because you guys are still technically the owners of the property and we're making payments to you in order to purchase it.
Yeah, that's what you mean.
So, I wanted to just see if either one of those options are something that you would consider.
Sandy, don't look at me.
Do you guys want to spend some time and think about it? And
Yeah, we do.
okay,
We do.
yeah, I totally understand. And to be honest and upfront with you, this is not the conventional way of doing real estate. And when I say conventional, it's not just the common way, but it's some creative ways that we can create win-win solutions that we can make some things happen. And everything would still go through proper channels with title company and all the official approvals and we'd be on the up and up with this, but it just opens the doors for some other creative solutions to make things happen.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think we need to just chat about the conversation that we've had here, and then kind of make a decision and let you know which way we want to go.
Okay. Awesome. I really appreciate it.
All right, I'm sure talking to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so I hope you caught that. I hope that was helpful for you to hear how Tom kind of positioned himself. And Tom, let's talk a little bit about kind of where you left off, because you left this kind of out there hanging, and that was intentional. My first question with Tom afterwards was, you know, why specifically did you end it where you're allowing them some time to like think about this idea? Because remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, in their mind, they're still thinking a cash closing is on the table when in fact, it's not. They just don't know it yet, right?
Yeah. So I still am evaluating this deal. So I didn't want to go to them and say, listen, it's this or nothing, because I'm still evaluating this. So I left it open that, listen, this would really help us out.
As an option.
As an option, if you would consider this. And there's really two options here. One is we're going to approach this as a fix and flip. And as such, we would just take over the payments and take ownership of the property. The other is if we go with a rental model, we leave you as the owner in place and we make payments, you know, to make that happen, but you're still the owner and we will eventually close on the deal in the future at some point.
Yeah, so I hope you guys caught that. So the next conversation, this is important to know, and I think let's talk about it, Tom. Your next conversation with them is going to be probably, I'm guessing, is going to be, hey, listen, guys, let's say they come back and they say, hey, you know what? We're totally fine with that idea. That's great. You're going to say, okay, perfect. We're going to close. You're going to get $3,000. I'm going to take over your payment. Everybody wins. You'll probably have a clause that says we can rent the property because you need them to agree to that in case there's like a form or something for the HOA. But let's say that they get that. Great. Close, they get $3,000. You do a subject to or a land contract on the deal that allows you some options. You take your deal now and still bring it to a buyer, but you open up all these doors for a buyer and you still wholesale your deal for $95,000. Let's say the buyer comes in, wants to cash it out if they do. Now, why would they? They can just pick it up where you've got it.
Right.
Just bring in rehab money and then go. But what you're probably going to do is you're probably going to pull off the table your cash offer.
Yep.
And you're going to say to them, look, guys, the only way we can make this work is if we do this creative idea here with the creative financing. And by the way, like this is what I would say, Tom, is I'd say, by the way, it's no difference to you as far as what you walk away with. We take over 100% responsibility. You're getting $3,000 either way, whether I cash you out or we do this. You're still walking away with $3,000. There's no change there. This is just the only way now that we can make the deal happen. And when you pull off the other option, what are they going to do? I think they're going to just take it because they don't have any other options right now.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So super excited about that. The thing that I really like about leaving it open-ended slightly like this is if they come to the conclusion that that this is what they want to do and they're open to doing it, they've concluded that that's the better option or that they're willing to do it, and they feel a sense of control in the deal. And so they're more committed. They're more, more open to working with us. Now, if they don't and they come back and say no, then we'll address it at that point.
Which I think is really important, because when you hung up from the call, my first thought was, why didn't you pull the cash offer off the table? Tell them there's only one way this is going to work. Here it is. Take it or leave it. Because that was what I was thinking to do. And then you said, well, I want them to buy into the idea. Maybe they won't, which then you'll pull it off.
We'll address it then.
Right. But let them say, you know what, it's okay. We like that. We're okay with that idea. And now you're not like pulling the rug out from under them. You're letting them feel like they're in control. Yeah, which I thought was great. Now, what's great is you're not really worried about other people on the deal. So it's okay to kind of like play it out a bit, right? Love it. Awesome. Guys, I hope you learned a lot from this video. I want to let you know that if you really want to learn creative financing, we do have a creative financing kit. It goes through all the different strategies like subject to, lease option, seller financing, land contracts, a number of different ways to really do creative deals that are not just straight cash. So I'll put the link to that in the description below. Download that for free and it'll really kind of help you learn that model and start to get into the creative a lot. So if you haven't yet, also be sure you subscribe to the channel. This is the #1 channel on YouTube for all things wholesaling and flipping. And we'll see you on the next video.
And give me some feedback on the phone call. How did I do?
Yeah, how did you do?
How should I improve?
Yeah, let's have some armchair coaching here. Like, oh, I would have said it like this, or I would have. But Tom's open to that, and I love feedback too. So share in the comments some feedback, and we'll see you on the next video.